Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest. And today we're going to talk about people quitting over the Truststone system. Because let me tell you, this thing is a monster. And we need to talk about the impact this has had on the global community. Let's go ahead and dig in. So there are many people, and I say this not to be dramatic, there are many people that have quit the game because of this system. And I've seen your messages, I've seen your comments, I've seen your conversations, I've seen you everywhere that I go in the War Divisions community, that you are frustrated with this system doesn't feel right to you, and you don't like it in the game. And I just want all of you to know, I hear that, and I want to give a voice to that for people, because I think as much as I like the system, I think there are significant flaws that really will hurt the global health of the game. And I want to talk about that because I think when you're in a content creator position like myself, I'm privileged to get to sit down and spend all day figuring out trust runes, figuring out the optimal builds, building everything perfectly. And I think we quite often don't have an accurate perspective of the frustration that potentially casual players or players who are our viewers might feel. So that's what I'm really gonna try and get here in the video. And for someone who approach the system initially with apprehension, if you're out there looking at the system with apprehension as well, I feel you. This system there's a lot of things they could have done to make this more user friendly. So let's talk about that. Let's get the entire list out, because I did make a significant list, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what they could do to change and improve the system, how we can make it so that players aren't quitting the game over the system, but they're engaging with and loving this system as a part of enhancing their War Divisions experience, right? So let's talk about what's getting in people's ways, what's most frustrating for them, and let's just talk about the overwhelming release of both the Truststone system and the WVC system. And let's just compare the two. The WVC system compared to the Truststone system, completely different. Completely different in terms of, accessibility for the entire player base, completely different in terms of what it does for the game. The Truststone system, you need to grind. You need to spend a ton of NRG in the Truststone chambers. You need to build up your Truststone resources. You need to roll for the right Truststone materials. And all of a sudden the game, for the last week and a half, if you are a more advanced player or a player who has been playing, who wants to play competitively, or you're in these communities that are competitive guilds, you may feel like you're forced to do Truststones all the time right now. And for those people, I hear you. I've wanted to farm the other events for a while and I just had no NRG. So compare that to the WVC system, where it came out, it was easily understandable. All you had to do was slot another VC in. It changed the game and made it more dynamic. It made it more fun, I would argue. And it's a way to enhance the game without enhancing significantly the complexity of the game, unlike Truststones, right? So when you look at them as two different systems, right? The WVC system does not impact my capability to enjoy War Divisions. The Truststone system, though, all of a sudden I have to spend all my NRG grinding on the Truststones in order to meet the monthly requirement to cash in, right? Because I want to be, I'm in a higher tier guild. I want to be competitive. I want to, be good for my guild. And I know there's a lot of players out there. All of a sudden, I haven't been able to farm the Final Fantasy VI weapons, right? I haven't been able to farm, anything else. I haven't even done the Crystal Warrior quest. I haven't caught up on the main story yet because I've been so focused on trust runes and trying to make myself capable and useful with them that it has literally destroyed my game experience. And I think that's the same for a lot of people right now. So before anything, I just want to say that the implementation of the trust system completely has destroyed many players' experiences, and it's an example of how not to do it, as opposed to the WVC system, right? Where It adds fun, it adds complexity at the expense of no additional cost, really, right? And it's something that, you know, players can engage with and they'll actually enjoy. So first off, I just wanted to highlight the differences between those two so that we can all agree that the Trust Rune system significantly impacts how players enjoy the game right now. Now that we've talked about that, let's talk about what's actually wrong with the Truststone system, because no matter how much I love the Trust Rune system, no matter how much I love it, there is significant problems in it. First and foremost, I have no idea why we didn't get the enhanced Trust Rune system from JP. Very similar, I don't know why we didn't get the enhanced double VC system from JP. Quite frequently, they have brought quality of life to global earlier, and they haven't done that. And it's actually kind of disappointing that we don't have the capability to overwrite abilities. And there are a lot of things that really trigger me in the Trust Rune system. I, of course, have 50 dismantles every day, but let's talk about simple things, simple UI things that should be changed. That's gonna be like, you know, having to go out of my way to exchange my silver ore for bronze ore in the item exchange, because the game literally cannot understand that I want to use my bronze and my copper, oh my god, my silver and my gold ore over having to use my bronze ore, right? The game literally, it cannot process that I want to use an extra silver and just waste that extra experience. It's like, no, you have to have the exact amount of ores to make this piece of gear. That's bonkers. That it's coded that way is bonkers, that they aren't fixing it. Like, what is going on with that? Next thing let's talk about. Let's talk about mass crafting and mass dismantling. One, there's no mass dismantle. I mean, you have to click on every single goddamn rune if you want to dismantle it. Two, when you mass craft, you don't get to see the passives on your runes. So every time you are clicking on the rune, or every time you mass craft, you are click, see the passive. Click, see the passive. Click, see the passive. When you're crafting 50 runes and dismantling 50 runes per day, that takes a lot of time. Why can't I just see all of my passives in the screen? Because it does show you a mass crafted screen. Why doesn't it just list all the passives on the side so I can know whether I could mass dismantle? But I can't mass dismantle because there's no mass dismantle button. That's what triggers me. That triggers me a little bit. The other thing that triggers me is that, you know, you have to transfer abilities between runes of the same letter, right? But a different type, right? Why can't I just transfer abilities from the same defensive or offensive runes? That makes no sense to me. Like, it would make the crafting system significantly easier, right? It's just, it's bonkers. Let's talk about defensive runes as well. Defensive runes is so much harder to get a good roll. In fact, when I was talking to another player recently, many of you know Queen Druid from my stream. Queen Druid has been trying to find the percentages of rolling a individual roll on the defensive side that would be good. And the current rate that we have is 1 out of 129 for potentially rolling a good HP or good luck. The amount of good rolls that you can have on the defensive side is significantly less because it's polluted. The entire pool is polluted with status resistances, right? And you're going to consistently get better rolls on the offensive side because there's better offensive options, candidly. And there's also less of them. So that just, I mean, overall, that could be overhauled, right? The other thing that could be overhauled, if we can get a roll pity, that would be fantastic. That would benefit new players and experienced players. It would also reward players who have a higher royal rank, right? Let's say your roll pity is every like 40 crafted runes or every 50 crafted runes, right? That would give a spending player 1 roll pity per day, and then it would give a new player 1 roll pity every 2.5 days. That would be a fair advantage potentially. So why don't we have a system like that? Why is this so non-user friendly? And that's about it. That's my frustrations right now with Trust Runes. I wanted to give a voice to all of you guys who are frustrated. I think it's crazy that players are quitting the game over this. It really makes me upset that they're quitting the game over this, because candidly, this is just a overcomplicated system that's a lot of fun, but just needs to be cleaned up. Someone needs to get in here, clean up the code, change the UI, make it easier, or they need to change how it was implemented in the first place. What would have been great is if they had just released iRunes. if they had only released a single rune to start, that would not have overwhelmed players. And then they did a single rune on the offensive side until you got 3 over the course of like 2 months, right? That's how you would do a system like this. That's how you would release a system like this. The current way that was released just messes things up terribly. And I'm sorry to all of you that are frustrated with this system. I'm sorry to all of you that haven't gotten to enjoy the game because you want to be competitive for your guilds. You don't want to let your community down. So you're grinding this nonstop. It's unfortunate. And I hope someone out there sees this video. I hope potentially they, make a statement about changing the status of runes, because it is a really cool system. It's just been implemented horribly into the game. And maybe it's, going to get better. But for right now, I am not as much as fun as much as I like this system as it is. I think this is actually the first nail in the coffin for War of the Visions. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day.